Greetings everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you again so much for tuning in, and I appreciate your patience. Yes, I've been squirreled away working on some really cool content. I got some cameras, and I got a cool microphone. So I am so stoked for you guys to see what's coming soon. Today we have Skywalker Ranch. Yeah, so this one is really neat. It's a George Lucas created idea. So what he did was, back in the 80s, he actually created an office building for his employees, but he wanted to make it feel like it was a home that was creative and inviting and warm, so that people felt like they were in a really good incubator space where they could work and think and be creative and be them and do the best possible work possible. And I think that went pretty well. So there's only a couple photos that exist on the inside because it is confidential. So we have like the communal style kitchen. We have the 3-level below ground 1920s inspired theater. Yep. Then we have the 2-level fitness center with a really cool enclave that goes down to a hot spring. There's a lot of green in this house because apparently that's the house color, and there's a lot of green in the real life one. And a lot of stone and really cool materials, and then a lot of tips and tricks here to really make it seem as close to the real life as possible. We have the 2-floor solarium, and then we also have the 2-level glass roof library, and you can see that's sort of like Google Earth. If you go and look at the aerials and things, it's on there. You can see that, and then there's some props and things like that in the backyard as well, just like here in the Sims version. So I really wanted to prove and show that, yeah, there is actually some good use with the Star Wars stuff, and you can still make it look cool and pretty and work it into a house. So you can rent this place as a vacation resort for as low as 18,000 simoleons a day, and you can own it as a home for like a little over 2 million simoleons. And then you could also just use it as like a park or museum, that kind of thing. Depending on what you're wanting to do, it's a 64 by 64 lot, full wraparound porch. So many things here, so many tips and tricks that I'm going to share today. And also in the tour video that we have coming immediately after this one. So, as always, stay proud, everyone. Go out and do something magical. And let's go ahead and dive into this build now. First, the grass. So, I first was trying to find a lot and a place to put this, and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna actually branch out and do a vacation place. So that's what I ended up starting out as, and then I was kind of mind blown a little bit when I was like, whoa, hold on, how much does this cost? Oh yeah, whoops. So yeah, for 18,200 simoleons a day, you can rent this. So at first I spent a lot of time just trying to get the general shape together, because what this really had of a benefit was a lot of tourist photos from the outside, but then of course obviously not very many on the inside. So I really took a lot of time in making sure that the outside was really as close as possible, so then I had a lot to work with on the inside. And then I went through and was really looking and seeing like, wow, okay, so there's a round room. Okay, well, how do I do the round room? Well, what I did to get around that was then create like a smaller like octagonal room, and then did the round porch there on the front there, so that you could just go ahead and have a really neat sort of looking round room without having to go through the hurdle of creating that, because we just don't have it right now. And that's really the best way, I think, to do it. And then on this side, there was sort of like a really neat room that was just like a big octagonal room with another octagonal room on top of it, and I'm like, this is really fun, and this would be so fun. So there's just a lot of neat like little elements. It's got these awnings on the front too, and then I wanted to create it more as a style of like a actual home as well, or one that you could go stay in as well as work on the house and that kind of stuff. In the house, whatever you want to do is here, you know. So I'm just working on kind of building all the bones right now, getting everything together, because it was like a monumentous sort of task to get all these windows, doors, everything in here. I mean, you'll see, I'll start turning on the ticker here in a moment, but you'll actually see how much money is just going out the window as I complete this. Like it's kind of mind blowing in a way how expensive this probably would be if they tried to do it today, and a lot of corporations would not be able to swing it. It's such a neat facility. And so I tried to make it as close to realistic as possible, even with using Tool to do the conservatory and then also the front porch sort of awnings and little gables, exposed wood beams, that kind of stuff, because I think that those are really what adds the character and something that I just couldn't do. So with the tool function here, it's actually neat because all you have to do is do the change axis to make sure that you're doing it at the making sure that you're going through on the horizontal and then just kind of bring it up at a 45-degree angle. And that's going to give you really good, nice, crisp angles to do what I'm about to do. And so you see it here. I'm just typing in the 45-degree angle and then elevating with just using the 9 key and then moving my mouse around then to place it. So again, here's another one that I do. And again, so what you do is you just go in and just make sure that you've got your 45-degree angle, that your sizing lines up a little bit. You'll see me here in a moment kind of work that out. So it's just kind of like a little bit of a trial and error on like maximizing, minimizing the object sizes, and then making sure to go with that 45-degree angle because that just keeps it simple on 0, 45, 90, and then over to 135 and then 180. So then you can just get like one like really good, crisp, clean angle set without driving yourself crazy. You could go 30 and make it like that, but then it starts getting busy with the more spokes you do. So that's kind of another thing you have to think about, scale and then the amount of objects that you'll have. So that's why I went and like through here, I cut out a lot of my light placing. Now they are there, but generally there's just so many can lights, like little saucer lights in here that I'm like, oh no, I can't possibly like make 5 minutes of video with just that. So I did cut a lot of that out, but they are there. And then over time it'll start activating as I want you to start seeing detail and things like that. So I really focus on making sure that the detail and strength of the objects could really kind of mesh together. So here's the kitchen. I just kind of basic, threw in all the cabinets just so you guys could see kind of how more or less it came out. And then the elements that you don't see often. So this is something you don't really get to see that often, but what I did is created sort of like a communal dining area within the kitchen that's like informal, that you could go and just visit with colleagues or friends, sort of like what you might have in the real life. There's our baby Yoda! And then I just use like the Star Wars, those big clunky Star Wars pieces actually came together really well to make sort of like an industrial looking backsplash. And so that's in here. And then you're just kind of seeing a lot of things kind of fly in and out at this point because it was just a lot of things all at once at first to do the exterior. But now I'm just kind of finishing up the pillars, and then you're going to see the conservatory here in a moment come together, all of our awnings, and then all of the little corbels and little character elements to the exterior, the artwork, because again, George Lucas wanted to surround his employees around art and culture and inspiring things, and I think that really made sense to me, and so I really made sure to put that here. So now we've got the solarium coming in, and what I did with this was just the build tool and using the decorative wood plank function item, and then just like making it bigger or smaller depending on where it needed to go, and then again sort of going with that 45 degree angle there, just so that it creates this really fun like element, because like in the actual limited photos I could see at the inside there was that really neat conservatory, and it was just gorgeous, and I'm like, this would be so fun to go and be able to look out right from the pool and out, especially even in first person mode, because obviously we're not there in real life, but this is about as close as I can get right now. And I'm like, this is neat to be able to have that idea of looking out your solarium, to your beautiful pool and cabana and all that inviting stuff. So now we have the dual staircases going in. I have that basement going in as well. And I do start focusing heavily on the basement and getting this together because I was just had at this point got the exterior done and then had realized through a lot of research and stuff that they had like this theater and area like movie screen areas and premiere areas and stuff, and I'm like, that'd be cool, so I'm gonna do that. And so you're gonna see that kind of come in and out too. And now I'm kind of doing that trick where you've got the fireplace, then you pop in with hold down the alt key and then you can move the bookshelf more snugly with the fireplace to look at more like built-in. With about any bookshelf will look okay, but I definitely recommend using the wood ones from the Cats and Dogs or like Parenthood. And then I'm putting together like the formal dining area, getting the giant living room communal area together. And one of my favorite, I would say, I know it's cheesy, but one of my favorite coffee tables in The Sims is actually the one with the aquarium in it, because I think it would be really neat in real life to be like, whoa, wait, hold on. There's fish in that and it's real. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. So this was a funny element that I actually created, but then for somehow the camera cut this out. Like no matter what I tried, it would not show up in my first person mode. It did, but then when I just toggle the camera with tab, it would not show up. And I was just like, oh, this mod. The mod usually works where I can, go and like do the videos, but then in that instance it was weird. It was like cutting it out. And I think it was just because I used like exterior plants on the inside, but I don't know. But it's really neat to look at, but then I'm like, dang it didn't work for like some of the video that I've got. I was like, oh no, it's not showing up. So I'm glad that at least in the build I can definitely see it, because it did take some thought, and I really like doing recessed flower beds and then kind of incorporating them with a lot of really neat water features and fountains and then other objects. And so now you're seeing me put together the library at first, and then it just started feeling really dark. And when I was looking online, it just seemed like the room would be very, very bright because of the glass ceiling and stuff. So I ended up making another dark room because I really like doing like different balance of bright tones and light tones, and then other rooms that have like more of like character and warmth and exude sort of like a strength. And so that's why I kind of created that Prohibition era style smoking lounge, or bubbling lounge as we'll call it, or the cigar lounge. So that's there. And then just a lot of plants and things like that, because it's so important to build like with this lot to have that sort of element, because of the premise and purpose of employees and people living and working around art and plants, and just feeling like there's so much happiness and excitement. It's almost like the Disneyland of employee friendly locations. So I would say that it would be really fun to really kind of have this in real life if you could. So here I'm actually, sometimes I go and I like have an idea of objects to use, and so I'll set them down on the ground and then come back to them later. So like you saw me kind of bring those elements all together there on decorating the porch there with all the plants. And I really like, I have actually a couple how-to videos, and I'm also getting featured in the Simmed Up magazine for the Pride issue. And so if you guys check that out, I'd be grateful. But I also share tips and tricks on this channel and then in that publication on how to sort of blend and mix pots and plants and all kinds of fun stuff. And actually a lot of my secrets that I have here, because they're not really secrets. And then I'm probably sure there are other people that have thought of this, so I don't claim them as mine. It's just things I know. And that, it's always just trying to maximize the most out of the objects we're given, because that's where it started way back 21 years ago, And now it's like we have this huge palette. It's almost like they gave me a box of 128 crayons and they're like, here you go. And I'm like, wow, but I'm still used to the 16 crayons. And so I've been able to really kind of mix and mesh and kind of repurpose objects in ways that I hope find kind of a place in your heart or in your use as well, and that help you guys optimize your gameplay and also kind of your build and how proud you are of them too, because they are really good. I've seen a lot of really neat builds out in the community, and I'm just so proud of everybody and being a part of it. And I hope to really kind of be able to catalyze and give you guys the chance to even think bolder and bigger and kind of take a risk. So, like, for instance, doing all the Star Wars content, kind of bring that in and showing, you know, like, as you season other things with it and you use them as sort of character pieces, it really can have charm. And so now this is another idea I sort of had too, of creating this sort of fountain area with an elevated workspace in the library. So I thought it'd be really neat sort of towards the center where the staircase comes together and light would just flow down and onto you while you're working and give you a lot of positive energy and oomph that you may need to get going. And really, really help your sim out, you know? And so here's our fun trees, and I did like a little botanical sort of element on this side, and then the other side has sort of like the water feature, I guess you could say. And the trick is to not do the pond tool or the fountain tool, but use the pool tool. The pool tool will make it deeper, of course, but it will allow you to put it anywhere pretty much. So that's the trick to making really cool fountains, is using pools. And then laughing when your Sims try and get in it too. It's hilarious because I've made like really tiny like fountain areas out of pools, and then the Sim like wants to try and get in it and gets mad or whatever, or looks goofy. So I also wanted to create sort of like that museum sort of vibe too. So we have that here, and then just a lot of like the library feel with like bringing in the culture and just a lot of the objects and the clutter, and then a lot of the really neat like little Star Wars pieces. And then this one, I really wasn't sure at first, but then I was like, oh, it would be so much fun if you could have your fortune told on your break, or, you know, make a little side income. Or if you're using it as a vacation resort, then you would have like maybe a fortune teller there that could really help you through, you know, whatever concerns or excitement you may have right now. And I thought that that'd be a fun little way to use the bottom. And then actually the top section is going to be something else totally different. And I can't wait for you guys to see that come together. So then I kind of want to do like a little front desk area concierge kind of thing for like your security or valet or what you may have. And then kind of just fill out a little bit more of the overall welcoming living room / like entry for your area. And then now we have like the outdoor cabana coming together. And then I wanted to make it like an eco like green space on the roof of it. So if maybe, you know, you were on your lunch break, you wanted to garden, that kind of thing. I saw that there was some gardens there from the aerials, it looked like. And so I was like, that would be fun. And then I really wanted to just use a lot of the really modern elements for the bathrooms and then give it like whimsical charm so that it's got like that really fun, you know, the tile prints and those sort of things that are there. But then it also has like really, really fun elements that you don't probably see that often with the glass windows. And then the trick with that is actually to go and delete out the wall after you've placed them. So you do your BB, your Control Shift C, and then your BB.move objects cheat, BB.move objects on. And so you do that, and then you pop in your window, then you go back and just delete the wall. And then you want to make sure that it's as tall as your wall and don't go any taller, because, and try not to move it up too much from your platform, because if it goes up in the ceiling, then it's actually going to black out the room and cause an error. So you don't want to do that. And so just make sure that your window is as flat, as close to your platform as possible, and then you'll be good to go. And so with this, it's just basic platforming, copying over platform to another, and on until you like get the height that you like, and just make sure that you're doing one step at a time so that they can get up there. And then I also then created the stage as well. So you have like your little walk around area, which you want to make sure that you allow enough space for them to get around the whole theater, obviously, as well, so they can get up there. And then I also really was thinking about some of the old theaters that I've been to that kind of can date back probably the early 1900s. and then photos I've seen as well. And it's neat because they were all lit, and some of the first places that were lit, because back in the day it was neat to actually go check out a place that even had electricity and that it was a marvel. And so the theaters, a lot of times they would actually incorporate tons of really neat lighting features, and then they would also then create that blackout element then in actual theater. And I just really wanted to kind of pop in those little extra light elements to give it that extra detail. And then these are all from like Star Wars, and I just wanted to use those because it's the Star Wars theater, obviously. And I just really wanted it to really have that whole stage vibe too, so you could do either or, have a really neat premiere like they would in real life, or you could have, you know, like people up there acting out scenes or recording content. And I just think that you guys will really get a lot of use out of this. And now I'm coming up. You want to make sure that you have your grid on when you're placing items without floors. So you want to make sure that you click the bottom of like where it highlights when you click the floor, and then remove floor. But then you want to make sure to turn your grid back on to place lighting upwards. Otherwise you're going to be pressing the 9 key a lot to get it to elevate all the way up through that open space. So the trick is to turn grid back on after you've done that, if you're not sure. So then it's me doing the security's bedroom. So I was thinking, there's somebody probably working at this place all the time that's watching it. And what would their bedroom be? So that's what I did here. And then their bathroom. And then this is that trick I was telling you then with the shower. But then also I did the fancy vanity feature idea as well, where I just convert the sideboard into a really, really fun, really cool item where you can actually just add the pedestal sink to it and then make it look like a vessel sink item. And so it's a really fun moment there, I think. And then another trick too is to definitely use all your windows options you can against the pool if you're doing a basement. And then I made a little fountain cove here, so if you do your little coving option with the pillars, then you can put a nice little pool there, not a fountain, but a pool, and then do the fountain items then with it. And that's the little trick on that. And now I'm doing the like communal showers here that are semi-private. So you have the tinted glass, so you're not going to see on the person next to you, but it'll let light in and through. And then I have all of those like little decorative elements coming in for both the men's locker room and then the gals locker rooms coming here in a moment. And the key to success on redundant rooms like that, where you just are like multiplying things, is just to do the whole room copy feature. But then in this instance, you would actually have to room copy the shower cubes too, because they're technically their own rooms once you block them out like that. And then you see sort of the different little other pieces that I do to kind of create this wellness center too. So I do a fun bowling alley. I do the like really fun Star Wars inspired cantina stuff and modernize that with it, so that we've got like a Star Wars themed bowling area here. And then we also have this really fun sort of bright room that is really would be really fun communal fun space to like hang out with, you know, like on a afternoon on a Friday, definitely, because I don't think anybody would be having Monday morning meeting there. So now I'm doing the little massage yoga area that people can go, or Sims can go and enjoy. Little vending, like I really tried to make it as close to real life as possible. And then you're gonna see here now I go down with the laundry facility. This is one of like 2 or 3 that I have here. I will have to watch. I lost count of how many laundry facilities I had to do, but you have to think about it. If you're housekeeping or somebody like that, you're not going to want to drag laundry from one end of the house all the way up and over and over and over. So the second floor has one for the bedrooms. Then I have one on the first floor to service that. And then we also have the downstairs one that services the whole downstairs area, like the fitness facility, the yoga suite, and then also all the employee stuff that you would probably have. And then over here is our little enclave, as I call it, for the hot spring. I'm doing the fitness stuff, getting all that popped in. Another idea is to use the pedestals from vampires toss in the Hispanic heritage update stuff, those little pots, and then add in a couple of plants, and boom, you have a custom looking 3-piece planter set. Yes, right there. And then you could just even keep caking on more little plants if you wanted to, just resize them to scale, and you're good to go. And then out here, halfway through building this, believe it or not, they came out with the really awesome, totally cool outdoor Oasis pack. Yeah, so we got that worked in here, obviously, as well, once we got downstairs. And then I actually went and circled back to, like, the cabana and was able to make that much more of a cabana vibe because of that update. So excited. So happy with it. And then, right before I go to push this, then a home decorator comes out. And I'm like, well, I'm already too far on this one. Like, that's going to have to wait. So our next builds will feature the most modern packs that we have. And I'll try and get this all done before our next ones come out on July the 22nd when we have cottage living, which I think this is a good segue into cottage living because ultimately this is like a cottage mansion, basically. It's got everything you could possibly want. It's just big, but it still has all that like clutter and quality and detail and so much to do here that it still has that sort of quaint, homey, warm vibe. It doesn't feel like a giant cavernous mansion, I don't think, like looking at it. And now I'm creating like the owner's suite, as I called it, and it's basically got like a full suite. It's got a giant, huge, get ready, walk-in closet, celebrity style, huge, like ready room. Plus, it's got a big, huge, whole, like shebang bathroom, and then the octagonal room on the south end of the building. So it's got the best views, it's got the most stuff in this room, and I actually like doing octagonal bedrooms because you can literally just plant the bed in the center, put a couple of tables around it, maybe toss in a cedar chest or like a bench at the end, and then maybe like something else on the other end, like a tall sideboard or table, and just make it really awesome and have a room that just is full of life because there's just so many like little sidewalls to add things. And now I'm making this other little bedroom that I wanted to be sort of like inspired by the East Coast and sort of like just the very warm, like tranquil, like vibes. And then I made like a West Coast inspired one. I made a glam inspired bedroom. I just wanted to kind of envelop all of the different styles of sort of like movies and culture when it came to the bedrooms, and sort of like exudes the sort of like feelings that I get from movies, from Star Wars or from just the most iconic movies, and to really kind of create that sort of like real life vibe and feeling. So it's really cool. Here's the second floor laundry suite. Yay! So this one was fun because it's big. It's ready for everybody. I did the trick where you kind of position the island countertop and then move it upwards a little bit, or I'm sorry, downwards, and you just kind of tuck the laundry like into it. And so the trick on that one is to make sure that you use the island counters so that you've got plenty of space to work with and drop into. And then you just use the Alt key and position it back. And then here's where I use like the table with the bed and pop that one in. And then here's another built-in sort of bookshelf idea, but like a larger one to really make it like pow, like boom. And I was thinking maybe like sort of like a modern beachy vibe with like a pet friendly atmosphere. I guess you could say, like if you had a dog. I noticed there was a lot of like owners even that were able to take their dogs or whatever to work, that work there at Skywalker Ranch. So I thought that was really neat. And then I also created this like really fun sports complex area too, because I know that they are very like have a lot of like really cool team building events and stuff, and use their property for that, as well as just like outreach programs and charity and then events, but then also just fun, and that's so neat. So now I'm like finishing up the upstairs, getting all of that put together, And then kind of coming back to the other octagonal room up there to make a really fun suite. And then I thought, like, what if you were to use this as a house or a vacation resort? And I simplified it a little bit. So we have the kids' bedroom. And this one I'm paying homage to my sister. So she's afraid of creepy dolls. She doesn't like those dolls, especially the hand-painted looking dolls or the creepy trucking looking dolls or anything that's really a pretty doll. They scare her. They terrify her. And so I thought I would pay homage to that a little bit. And when I was little, I would like threaten to even like mail her one. Or like sometimes I might be at like the thrift store and see a creepy one and send it to her in a picture when she least expects it, and it freaks her out. So I thought, hey, I would do that here too. So you're gonna see how that came together in that little purple bedroom, the pink and purple bedroom, and then we have another little like the green bedroom because again, paying homage to sort of the green paint and elements that they have there at Skywalker Ranch. And now I'm putting together the last of the bedrooms. Here is the shower cove idea where you use the coving and create like an enclosed shower that's just got that nice arch, and then I just pop in a window there on the side then. And I leave all the walls intact in that instance so that you can get like that really nice enclosed feeling rather than it being, you'll have to put another can light in it, but it does get a lot, it's just a different element, and the brightness and everything in that space is really different, and it's definitely something I encourage you guys to go and try and build. So you just go over and use the archway coving and pop that in after you build a wall. And now you're seeing everything come to life with the last bits of the lighting. And it took me a moment. I was using an older version of Reshade first, and then I highly recommend anyone that hasn't upgraded yet to do so. I have not had any errors or glitches like I did with the old version. It is basically plug and play now, and there are way more filters, way more options. So I highly recommend upgrading because now my things are a lot more clear. My gameplay is a lot more fun because it's not as buggy and slow, and I just really enjoyed it. So I hope you guys that are still back there with the old like 3.9 versions can find it in your heart to try it because I think you'll enjoy it. I really do. And so here is the last little views around and see the photo deck. So here is my favorite elements was really to make the library and then to get the outside to look as fun, inviting, and Simsified as possible, so it had a lot of use for us, but then also paid good homage to, yeah, it was so much fun to pay homage to the original, and then also to just kind of bring in a lot of really fun Simsified elements, and to really knock it out, so to speak. I love using those screenshots, and sometimes, you're trying to do a tour, and then the person just decides to go on and do whatever they want to because, you've used all the cheats to make them happy, and then somehow they end up deciding to want to go punch the punch bag. I'm like, okay. And then I'm really proud of the porch and how it all came out. It was a lot of fun to do, and I thought of, like, different ways of it. And then here's your different views from the bottom, and then just how everything kind of came together, and all the pieces, and just sort of, like, how, to me, it really just mattered to really kind of represent The Sims here for Pride Month, and also to represent the game for Pride Month, and to really represent sort of like everything I've learned and the style I kind of grew up with and what I kind of would inspire for hopefully you guys, and really just kind of, bring together the best of what we all have to make the best experience that we can as a group, and also to just really reflect on everything in the past and kind of how we've all got to where we are now with each other, and how back in the day we didn't have each other. We didn't even know I didn't know there was so many people out there playing. I thought I was one of a few, and I am so shocked that, now it's gotten to this level, and there are many of us now able to create and really share. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I can't wait to do more. So for the next episode, you'll see the tour, and we'll go and actually really take a deep dive look in the inside. And so if you enjoyed this one, I know you will enjoy the tour. And I kind of have some one-on-one with some of the Sims, so you can just see how they kind of really use the space. And as always, I'm Simmer Chase. Stay proud and go do something magical. And thank you again so much for tuning in. Have a great day.